Okay, time for a new video, and whether you are somebody new to my channel or you are returning to my channel to watch this video, it is greatly appreciated. As always, I'm filming this video in one go, so if I stumble over my words moving forwards, apologies about that. And also, if the quality of this video is fairly poor, if there's any lag, anything like that at all, sadly it cannot be helped, and hopefully it is not too much of an issue for you. I am actually filming this video a bit later in the day, so I am expecting the quality to be a little bit poorer, but this is the best I can do. This is yet another Eurovision 2023 related video, ladies and gentlemen. As I'm recording the video you're watching now, it is the 27th of September 2022, and earlier today the BBC, and indeed the whole team involved with Eurovision, the EBU, said that two cities remain in contention to stage next year's 67th edition of the Eurovision Song Contest. Those two cities are Glasgow and Liverpool. Yes, indeed. Two tribes go to war, ladies and gentlemen. Funnily enough, the band who sang that song, Frankie Goes to Hollywood, are from Liverpool. So, in this video today, I'm really just going to waffle on for a bit about these two locations, these two cities, and I'm very interested to know your thoughts, so do feel free to leave comments, it's always much appreciated, and check out the links in the description to my other social media pages if you so wish as well. So, first things first, am I personally surprised by the two cities that are left in the running? Yes and no. Of course, we had a shortlist. That shortlist was revealed several weeks ago now, consisting of 7 locations across the UK, mainly England. And Glasgow has been the hot favourite since day one. I'm not entirely sure why, but it has been the hot favourite and is still the favourite. If anything, it's pulled further ahead since the announcement earlier today. As for Liverpool, well, I never discounted it. Certainly on the BBC, every time, it seems, when they are talking about Eurovision, they're in Liverpool. They have a guy on the ground talking to people there, asking them their thoughts on the possibility of Liverpool staging the event. Personally, I think perhaps the BBC are leaning towards a Liverpool success rather than a Glasgow success. That's the way it appears to me, anyway. I say that it's a little bit of a surprise because I really thought Birmingham or Manchester would be on there alongside Glasgow. Birmingham, of course, having hosted Eurovision before, successfully staging a very good Commonwealth Games, the arena in question right next to an airport, great accommodation links, transport links, all of that, so many things ticking the right boxes. And yet Birmingham is not one of the final two, and apparently, I was reading an article about this just before filming this video you're watching now, the reason Birmingham's bid was unsuccessful is because of the roof at the Resorts World Arena. It didn't meet some of the technical requirements, which I suppose you probably should have checked before submitting your bid. I don't know how it works, of course. But it's a great shame that Birmingham has been excluded from the final two, perhaps because of something that feels very minor, but is obviously very important. And you want everything to be bang on the money, of course, when it comes to the contest. As for Manchester, I really thought Manchester would perhaps make the final two because the arena is so big. I've mentioned this in previous videos. It's one of the biggest indoor arenas in Europe. And next year, the more fans who can attend the contest live, the merrier. I think the AO Arena has a capacity of somewhere in the region of 20,000. It would be slightly less for the contest, of course. But still, that's a lot. More than what we've seen in recent years, pretty much. But it's not going to be Manchester. Their wait to stage the Eurovision Song Contest continues. Instead, we have two non-capital cities. So yet again, Eurovision will not be in a capital city next spring. Two places that have never staged it before. Now, Glasgow, I'll be talking about the arenas and the cities in a little bit more depth in just a moment. It is going to be a waffly, rambling video. I think Glasgow is going to be the successful one here. I really do. Saying that, there's been so much emphasis about Liverpool on the news. I really feel this way. It seems as though it's always there where they are. And obviously, Liverpool has a very rich musical history. I think it's a UNESCO City of Music, don't quote me on that, something along those lines. And the council have been really, really vocal about it. I would say Liverpool have been more vocal about Eurovision than probably any of the other cities on the shortlist combined. I haven't seen much from Glasgow, I'll be honest with you. I saw barely anything from Newcastle, barely anything from Sheffield, nothing really from Leeds, a little bit from Birmingham, a tiny bit from Manchester, but it's really all been Liverpool. I am not surprised Liverpool has made the cut, not at all. If anything, I would say the momentum is with that bid. It really is with that city, that bid, that council doing their thing. Do not rule out Liverpool 2023 whatsoever. It seems to me from the online response so far today that a lot of people are preferring Glasgow to be picked, and whether that's because the arena is more appealing to them, or logistically it's easier for those people to get to, I don't know, or because the exterior was in the Netflix movie. That's not really that interesting to me, but okay, some people think that's pretty cool. I don't know. It just seems as though Glasgow is absolutely the preferred choice for the majority, it would seem, of Eurovision fans. Me personally, from a geographical standpoint, I am rooting for Liverpool now, which is about 3.5 hours away by car, I think. Could get the train, of course. Glasgow, on the other hand, would probably require an extraordinarily long drive, a very tiring drive, or a flight. And I don't know, Glasgow is a bit of a difficult place to get to for quite a few people, particularly those who live in the south of England. It could just be quite a faff, quite a challenge trying to get there next spring. Whereas Liverpool, I don't know, maybe not quite as bad. I haven't looked into it in enough depth to really sit here now and say to you all, oh yes, this city has got this going for it in terms of transport links and flights and what have you, and trains and all of that stuff. I haven't really looked into it in enough depth at all. I will be doing that though very soon. I was talking to a friend of mine earlier because we are, talking about going to Eurovision next May, and we were talking about accommodation and all of that stuff, and he was saying that really I shouldn't be worrying too much about the accommodation, so I'm not going to. There's still a long time to go before tickets go on sale, and there will be a mad dash to get tickets from thousands of people across the UK and beyond. So that will be a very, very manic day, and of course the tickets are released in waves. So all of the days in question when tickets are released, they are going to be frantic for so many people. I'll be trying my best. Believe me, I have every intention of trying to get tickets for the main event on the Saturday night. And then I can sort out everything else. But it's going to be really difficult. I'm really rambling, I do apologise. Let me just go through some details about the OVO Hydro, which is the venue in Glasgow. Yes, indeed. I've spoken about this a little bit in the past. I'll be speaking about it again soon. I don't want to sound like a broken record here, but here we go. It opened in 2013. It cost £125 million to build. It's shaped like a cereal bowl, pretty much. It lights up around the edge. It is part of a complex known as the Scottish Event Campus. So loads of big events in Scotland, let alone Glasgow, take place here. Political debates, boxing events, the Sports Personality of the Year award has been staged there before. Comedians have performed there, I believe. Loads and loads of famous musicians. Dua Lipa earlier this year, I believe, was there. It is one of the busiest arenas in the world, which is really impressive. It is the busiest arena in the UK. Would you believe it? I suppose in Scotland, if a major musician is coming to perform in your country, it's at this place. Yes, indeed. The other building, which is next to the Hydro, is called the Armadillo, and that's more of an exhibition centre. But what's great about that is that I suppose it could be used for the press. I don't really know, But the fact it's right next door and it's part of a wider complex, that's obviously very appealing to the decision makers. They'll be looking at this and saying, well, all of the other stuff that a Eurovision venue needs, Glasgow's sort of got in place. They don't need to build anything. They maybe don't really need to do that much. I don't know. And certainly, I've not been to Glasgow. I've heard wonderful things. I've not been to the Hydro as a result. But looking at lots of pictures online, it really just looks like a great place for an event like Eurovision. It really, really does. Talking about Glasgow briefly, here we go. It is the 4th most populous city in the UK, the 27th largest city in Europe. What have we got here? For some reason, it has a picture of a cinema. I wouldn't say that's one of the most appealing things about Glasgow, but there we are. You've also got the Glasgow Toll Booth, which is this large sort of steeple. You've got the Glasgow Tower, which is 127 metres tall. You've also got George Square, which is a beautiful looking place, and certainly, I'm thinking ahead to next May, big screen, loads of Eurovision fans, George Square, certainly could be appealing for a lot of people, especially if you haven't got a ticket for the live shows. Maybe you could gather there with your mates. Commonwealth Games has been there. The European Championship Athletics, the very first edition of that, was in Glasgow. It has a huge football rivalry, Celtic and Rangers, and games at Euro 2020 were staged there. You've got the Burrell Collection, which is a museum. You've got the Kelvin Grove Art Gallery. You've got the Royal Scottish National Orchestra, who may well play a part next year if Eurovision's there. The Scottish Ballet, the Scottish Opera. It was the European Capital of Culture in 1990. What's the weather like? Well, the average temperature in May is, I don't know, maybe about 15 degrees Celsius. That's not too bad, I suppose, for that time of year. Loads of great shops, Buchanan Street, yes. Great architecture, plenty of green spaces. It's a very, very appealing place. It really is. And BBC Scotland's HQ is in Glasgow. So there you go. How about that? Now, let's talk about Liverpool. I have to say, with Liverpool, wonderful place, but I've never been a fan of the accent. The Liverpool Arena, or M&S Bank Arena, is right next to the River Mersey, so it's quite picturesque, a little bit like Lisbon in a way. And it's also next to the famous Albert Docks in Liverpool. I've never been there. I know people who have, though. It opened in 2008, capacity of 11,000. If anything, what's letting down the Liverpool bid just a touch for me is the fact that the arena doesn't have a huge capacity. Now, this shouldn't matter, but as I was saying earlier, the more the merrier. Which is why I'm surprised Manchester was booted out. But it is what it is. It says here about transport links. You can get there by bus. There's a railway station a short walk away. And it's also 2 stops away from Liverpool Lime Street, which is the main Liverpool train station. Yes, indeed. Again, every major musician you can think of has performed there at some point. Rihanna, Oasis, Morrissey, Paul Weller, Nicki Minaj, Blink-182, lovely, Liam Gallagher, McFly, Dua Lipa earlier this year, Little Mix. Oh, there you go, I was talking about Dua Lipa. She performed in Liverpool earlier this year. Elton John was there last year. So yes, it's a very popular venue with musicians. I really don't have much else to say about the specific arena because I don't know too much about it. But in terms of Liverpool as a city, it is so famous, mainly for the football. Liverpool are a massively successful football club. So, I don't know, maybe you could do a tour of Anfield if you're travelling to Liverpool next May, if indeed it is Liverpool. 10th largest English district by population. Yes, indeed. You've got Pier Head. Indeed, lots of landmark buildings. You've got the Mersey Ferry. Maybe you could get the ferry across to the arena. That would be quite interesting. You've got the Liverpool Metropolitan Cathedral. a very spiky looking place. St. George's Hall, which looks a bit like the Acropolis in Athens. You've got the Georgian Quarter, Prince's Dock, which is quite pretty, it must be said. Liverpool is very close to other major cities as well, so if you were travelling to Liverpool for Eurovision and making the most of it, you could maybe go down to Manchester for a couple of days. And even with Glasgow, Edinburgh's sort of down the road. I think it's about an hour down the road by car. Could tick off 2 big cities right there. It really is a city of rich culture, friendly people. So many major musicians are from there, notably the Beatles. Also, Echo and the Bunnymen are from there, yes indeed. The Liverpool Philharmonic Orchestra, Philharmonic Hall, there it is. Massive grey building, not the most attractive, but there we are. William Brown Street, a street known for its concentration of public buildings. Loads of famous authors spent time in Liverpool, including Herman Melville, Charles Dickens, and Hugh Walpole. Yes, indeed. Education, sport. I mean, seriously, if you asked people what's the first thing you think of when you think of Liverpool, they would say football. And to be honest, a lot of people would say that for Glasgow as well. But that is it. My God, I apologise. This video has turned out pretty crap if you ask me. But really, I'm filming it because it's relevant news and I want to hear what you think about these cities. Is it going to be Liverpool or is it going to be Glasgow 2023? The odds suggest we're heading to Scotland next spring, but I think Liverpool is in with a really, really good shot here. Let me know what you think. Feel free to contact me on my other social media pages, as well as here if you so wish. And I'll be back with more Eurovision-related news very soon, especially Junior Eurovision, because that's not so long away now. And until then, I'm going to shut up. What a mess of a video. Many apologies. Let me know what you think. Take care of yourselves, stay safe, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.